There's no way. I know they were planning on sitting her, but after yesterday's performance, after last night's nuclear god mode activated, there's no way you sit Caitlin Clark tonight, especially that her body's feeling good. You gotta keep it moving. You gotta keep it rolling. You have to keep the momentum moving forward heading into the All-Star break. We need to see CC encore performance tonight.
Tonight, the absolute limit of corporate sports entertainment was pushed off a cliff. The establishment did not just fracture. They completely lost control of the reality. While stadium lights were burning red and the crowd was in absolute hysterics, a generation-defining milestone was being carved into history. The fastest player to ever reach 200 career three-pointers in the entire history of professional basketball. But as the stadium graphics flared up, something terrifying happened on the sidelines. The coaching staff signaled for a substitution. They wanted to hide her. They wanted to dim the flashbulbs. They wanted to ensure that the narrative remained within their controlled parameters, but the sheer momentum of history was already moving too fast for their boardroom strategies to keep up. But she refused to exit. She stood her ground, looked her own bench dead in the eye, and demanded to stay on the hardwood. She wasn't just playing for a win anymore. She was waging open war against an entire administrative hierarchy that has been trying to suppress her power since day one. The corporate suites are in absolute chaos tonight. The mainstream network anchors are tearing up their pre-written scripts. The illusion is over. The moment she defied the system, she didn't just break a record. She broke the old guard's entire grip on the game. Every executive in the building realized that the product they thought they owned had completely evolved past their ability to regulate, manage, or contain it. To understand why the media infrastructure is in an absolute state of panic right now, you have to look at the spectacular collapse of the traditional establishment. For months, media figures like Jamali Hill and the bitter remnants of the league's old guard have been executing a coordinated, desperate campaign to minimize this historic run. They claimed it was a fluke. They claimed the defense would adjust. They weaponized toxic television debates to protect their fading legacies from getting completely erased by a rookie phenomenon. They desperately tried to shift the goalposts every single week, inventing new metrics, shifting historical boundaries, and relying on corporate public relations spin to keep the spotlight on the past rather than acknowledging the undisputed future standing right in front of them.
Caitlin Clark being asked if her minutes restriction was a factor late in tonight's game. Let's hear what she had to say.
Caitlin, this might be a dumb question, so forgive me, but minutes restriction the last couple of nights, when you got to 25 tonight, was there any conversation about coming out of that game, or were you kind of like, don't even come near me?
Steph knows better than that. Trainers know better than that. They would get an earful. But I told Steph at halftime, like, I felt really good, and I didn't want to lose this game, and, you know, hopefully I'm going to do everything I can tonight to take care of my body, and then we get back out at it tomorrow. But like I said, like, I can trust all the work that I put in on my body, and, you know, I spent a ton of time on it, and I trusted people around me that really helped me, and, you know, I always find confidence in that, so I know I'm doing all the right things, and there was no way I was ever coming out of the game in the fourth quarter. It didn't matter. I would play with one leg.
Yeah, there's no way you take her out of that game. Folks, we were this close. They fought all the way back after falling down substantially. What, they fall down 6-8 points, something like that. They fought all the way back. They took the lead. I mean, Caitlin Clark went into clutch mode.
But tonight, those exact critics completely exposed themselves on a global stage. As the 200 three-pointer ripped through the net, the entire anti-Clark narrative didn't just fail. It became a laughingstock. The old guard sat in total, stunned silence in their broadcast booths, looking completely embarrassed on live television. Their carefully constructed corporate talking points were shattered by the raw physics of a player who cannot be stopped, cannot be reasoned with, and cannot be managed by a boardroom committee. The corporate protectors tried to shield their favorites. But by doing so, they left themselves completely exposed to immediate, brutal public mockery. The panic in their voices was palpable as the digital metrics began to plummet, proving that the viewing audience was completely done with the artificial drama and desperate gatekeeping. Let the terrifying weight of the data sink into your mind. This wasn't just a milestone. It was a complete systematic execution of every single record on the books. Becoming the fastest human being to drop 200 threes didn't just break the league standard, it completely outclassed the historical metrics of the sport across generations.
Media going crazy. Bleacher Report, most points in Fever history, 110-107, 352,000 views, over 13,000 likes. Getting love, I'm in awe. Real humans will look you dead in the eyes and tell you she's not the face of Kareem. Is it rude to call her the face of women's sports, Kareem? Is it rude to call her the face of the league, Kareem? Do you want to know the difference? This is the face of the league. ESPN, within the same hour, Angel Reese and Naz Hillman combining for 47, Caitlin Clark by herself going for 45. Their post, 8.9 thousand views. Caitlin Clark's post, 626,000 views after going off last night. 626,000 views in 13 hours compared to, Angel Reese and Naz Hillman combined for 47 points. Mother, we just dropped 45 and 10 by my damn self, and you think people give a shit about fucking 45 points combined? We don't give a rat's behind about 45 points combined. You got ESPN, over 1 million views on ESPN's post, 38,000 likes, 1K. Reports of her demise were...
When you score at this velocity while simultaneously being targeted by reckless physical blindside hits and intentional referee blind spots, you aren't just an elite player anymore. You are a threat to the established order. The sheer statistical efficiency being displayed on the court completely invalidates decades of traditional coaching philosophies and corporate marketing strategies that relied on manufacturing parity rather than celebrating absolute, unadulterated excellence. The opposing teams didn't know what to do. They threw double teams. They executed dangerous off-the-ball fouls. And the officiating crew conveniently looked the other way. But the defiance in her eyes only grew darker. Every single uncalled hit was met with another cold-blooded dagger from 30 foot out. By refusing to exit the floor, she sent a chilling message straight to the top executives sitting in the high-rise corporate offices. You did not build this era. You cannot control it, and you damn sure cannot protect your protected players from getting completely dismantled by my presence.
That's delusion and called hate. Then we have him saying, Caitlin Clark is phenomenal. She deserves better fans. Now we do this again. Calling out the fans because the fans let them know she's the best to ever do this. Sorry. She's the most exciting player this league has ever seen. Sorry. She's the one that put the eyeballs on the WNBA. Sorry. If that hurts your precious feelings, Dan Barrett, reach in between your legs and make sure you still got some balls there. All right? Do that for me if that hurts your feelings. Then we have Lolo Bike, the Minions. Now we have the little Minions. The old WNBA media who were super fans and felt important and felt special covering this league. Oh, I'm a super fan. Oh, what'd you say? Seattle had 18 total free throws compared to Indiana's 31. Caitlin had 19 free throw attempts more than the Seattle team combined. It's funny, Lolo Bike, I don't remember you complaining about, putting out Alicia Gray complaining about the officiating when Alicia Gray shot the same amount of free throws.
The relentless pressure on the court was mirrored by the absolute panic in executive offices where phone lines were lit up with major broadcast partners demanding answers as to why the league's primary economic engine was being left entirely unprotected on national television. And that brings us to the ultimate catastrophic breaking point for the league's leadership. With the entire sports world now on fire, the network executives are reportedly in an absolute frenzy behind closed doors. They realize that the old infrastructure has lost all credibility. The fans aren't clicking on mainstream sports articles anymore. They are actively tuning out the traditional media gatekeepers who spent months trying to manufacture false rivalries to protect the old guard's bruised egos. The internal memos circulating through the corporate networks indicate an immediate drastic shift in strategy as producers realize that the public will no longer tolerate the systematic downplaying of historic achievements just to protect the fragile sensibilities of former players.
3 steals. This was an unbelievable freaking game. Guys, I got to tell you, at times it's been tough to cover this team this year. It's been hard. There's been some awful games to sit through. Now, it wasn't all rosy. Stephanie White has got to start, at the end of games, you've got to start leaving Caitlin Clark in these games. You have got to start showing some kind of confidence in her. She made a hell of a defensive play in like the last 2 minutes. You've got to show confidence in Caitlin Clark on the floor. during defensive crunch time. That was one of my major complaints tonight. Right here, Caitlin Clark becomes the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 200 threes. This was the 200th three right here. She grabbed that steal, comes down right here. She's back out, back over to her.
The financial power dynamic has completely flipped. Major global brands are now bypassing the traditional league channels entirely, looking to lock in direct multi-million-dollar equity deals with the superstars camp. The establishment spent decades building a restrictive corporate wall around women's basketball, thinking the platform was the prize. But tonight proved the ultimate unvarnished truth. The platform is absolutely worthless without the generational anomaly driving the entire culture forward. Every arena executive is sweating because they know they have no leverage left to contain this absolute historical takeover. The multi-year distribution contracts that previously locked down player movements are being heavily scrutinized by elite legal teams looking for every single loophole that would allow a complete migration of talent away from the legacy networks and toward independent digital ecosystems.
3 records broken in one game. The girl's unreal. The girl is unreal. Take a look at this here, man. Caitlin Clark, 45 points, 10 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks, 11 of 18 shooting, 6 of 8 from 3. Kelsey Mitchell shot way more than Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell shot the ball way more than Caitlin Clark today, and it didn't matter. Take a look at this dagger that Caitlin Clark was pulling up threes from Baghdad, pulling up threes from Carver Hawkeye Arena. Take a look at this game-sealing bomb from Caitlin Clark. Off the inbound. Come on, give me that. Look, tie game, 102-102. Ball game, give me that. Caitlin Clark, bro. She's the best to ever do this. The best ever. Nobody in the history of this game is better than Caitlin Clark. I don't care what awards you got. I don't care. Ain't nobody put it down like this. Ain't nobody in one.
The Warlands have officially been drawn in the sand. The old guard can keep their manufactured television narratives, and the bitter critics can keep crying in their social media feeds. But history does not care about corporate jealousy. The records have been completely rewritten, and the crown has officially been taken by absolute force. There is no negotiation left to be had, no compromise to be made in the press conferences, and no administrative intervention that can stop the massive wave of cultural change that has swept over the sport. The gatekeepers have officially been dethroned, and the corporate infrastructure that once dictated terms to athletes is now reduced to pleading for relevance in an era they failed to predict, failed to understand, and completely failed to respect. What is your raw, unfiltered reaction to this absolute destruction of the old guard? Did the establishment permanently humiliate themselves by trying to bench her during a historic night, or is the hater narrative officially dead and buried? The corporate system tried everything to keep the old order alive, but the metrics do not lie, and the stadium attendance numbers speak for themselves.
She had a turn. Yeah, kiss my behind. Single best thing to ever happen to women's sports, and it's not close. The face of the league on a minutes restriction. Folks, absolutely disgusting what Caitlin Clark did last night. Fever record shop just keeps swinging away. The face of the league, yeah, this is Robert Griffin comes right out. Caitlin Clark is the face of the league. She just had 45 and 10 with 4 steals, 2 blocks, shot 11 for 18, 6 and 10 from 3-point range in 29 minutes with a plus 16. It was exciting. Clark is undoubtedly the most popular player in the WNBA, a record-breaking great player on and off the court. There is no denying that. Absolutely no denying that. We have Dave Portnoy chiming back in. Caitlin the Great with 45, 10, 6 and 10 from 3. The game of the year. She's box office. She is the league. She is the moment. They hate her because they ain't her. Bow down to her. Oh gosh. Bow down to her. Who should tell?